So I had decided not to engage this conversation anymore and had left it alone. But then last night I was reading through flagged comments and I found this one. Apparently it had been flagged because there's a swear in it or something. I don't know. TikTok doesn't even alert me that there's comments waiting for my approval. I have to actually manually go in and check. It's annoying. Anyway, so I just found this and realized that it explains everything that's going on in this conversation. So I want to address it. The thing is, what this comment reveals is that you are operating from an understanding about how the editions relate to each other that is fundamentally wrong. See, the thing that's been coming up is this idea that because of a way that a rule was stated in advanced D&D, then that means that this explains how that rule is to be viewed in all editions of D&D. And that is the problem, because editions of D&D, unless stated otherwise, are not continuations of each other. They are replacements of each other. They are distinctly different systems with shared mechanics. So the way that you're describing this is that it seems as though you expect it to be read where if a later edition does not say that a rule has been scrapped, then it has not been scrapped. That's the exact opposite of how the editions work. Essentially, whatever it says in the third edition book, that's the rules for third edition. If a rule for a previous edition is not mentioned, that rule no longer applies. That's what I mean when I say that it was scrapped. Here, let me show you. This is the listing that is being cited. Okay, this is the Deities and Demigods AD&D description right here, where it explains that intelligence in monsters, this indicates the basic equivalent of human IQ. Certain monsters are instinctively or otherwise cunning, and such is accordingly noted to the body. So, first of all, rules as written, this isn't even describing human scores. This is describing how monster scores relate to a level of understanding that we can understand. But scratching that, just setting that aside for a little bit, look carefully at how this description writes up what intelligence is. Listen to how this edition describes intelligence, and then compare that to how other games describe intelligence. Here is D20 Modern, the game that we were actually playing. It starts on the bottom of that page and carries over to here. Note that the description is entirely different. That is, how it describes what intelligence is doing is entirely different and does not make any mention of IQ. It doesn't connect it to IQ in any way. And it doesn't even describe it as being about how intelligent they really are. It's just about how well you learn and process information. Here's how it's described in 3.5. Note again, this description does not read in any way the same as it does in AD&D. What that means is that in the changeover from one edition to another, the description in AD&D was scrapped. It is not maintained. It does not continue across editions unless it is specifically stated as continuing, because the editions are not continuations of each other, they are replacements. Each edition of D&D is a different game. It is a different game system with different rules. And so assuming that something that exists in one edition automatically applies to all later editions unless stated otherwise is a false understanding of what is going on between editions. So yes, when I said that rule was scrapped, that was not me making stuff up. That was me treating the editions as they actually exist.